skills. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Sebastian Hess. I'm the head of business development at Alprox. Alprox is the company behind ROX, which is the first stablecoin that is legally enforceable and backed by the Swiss franc. But before I tell you more about what we do, I want to tell you maybe why we did it. And for that, doesn't seem to work. Okay. So why ROX? We did ROX because we believe in a world where people can enjoy the wealth and the freedom of that wealth in a doesn't seem to work. Maybe I can do it with another presentation. Okay, whatever. So we believe in a world where people can enjoy the freedom of their wealth in a secured, stable. Well, I don't know who's changing the slides. Maybe let's stop using the slide. In a secured and stable manner, and where they can actually be protected from the risks such as inflation or fraud. And as I said, our company is from Switzerland. And in Switzerland, those values are very much represented by the country itself. It's a country where we have security, stability, and ownership over the funds. And for that reason, Switzerland is today a country where you see more than 25% of offshore financial assets being held in custody, which means that there's actually over $7 trillion US, which are held in Switzerland in custody with Swiss banks. So our belief is that this access to this great financial center that is Switzerland, with its stability, ownership, and protection of wealth, can be made accessible to much more people, persons, organizations around the world. Today it's not the case because, of course, you have to be very high net worth individual to access those institutions. But our vision is to make it accessible through the blockchain to everyone. And that is clearly something which we want to offer with our solution. So I think if you can change and move further to the next page. Exactly. How are we going to execute on that? So we gathered a team of banking and finance professionals with over 30 years combined of experience. Our founders have been with the largest banks in Switzerland, Credit Suisse, UBS, in trading firms such as Novatec and ING. And our tech team is coming from the trading platform side. We've been building the most advanced trading platforms in Switzerland for companies such as Trafigura. We have in the regulatory and compliance side our head of compliance, which was 5 years with FINMA, the Swiss regulator, and a head of marketing that has been working in the crypto space for some years, and myself that comes from investment and private equity side, working for companies like Rocket Internet and Bowman and Bain & Company. So that's the team, and that's clearly the core of the how we want to execute on our idea. So now I'm going to tell you more about what is ROX, right? So ROX is the solution that allows you to have access to this Swiss financial center by having simply your Swiss bank account on the blockchain. ROX is the first stablecoin that is backed one-to-one with the Swiss franc on the Ethereum blockchain. And what does that actually mean? It means that ROX is the equivalent of Swiss franc that is collateralized in Swiss banks and vaults, and that is made accessible to its holder at any point of time. So anyone holding a ROX token is the legal owner of the funds, which are held in custody with Swiss banks and in vaults in Switzerland, protected with no risk and no leverage at all. It's simply deposited, waiting for the users to make use of it. So ROX is basically Swiss franc. How are we going to do that? We deposit Swiss franc in two forms. Up to 90% in banknotes, really physical banknotes in Swiss francs in vaults, and a minimum of 10% in bank accounts which are left for liquidity. As I said, those ROCs are nothing else than the equivalent of Swiss franc, which allows its holder to literally transfer them, or redeem them, actually, that's the right word, for the underlying asset. If you can change slide. Yes, thank you. And this is the freedom we give. We give the freedom for any holder to literally redeem for the underlying asset. So how will ROX be used? As I said, ROX is money in Switzerland, so it will be a store of assets. It will be a safe haven cryptocurrency, which means that your wealth is protected in Switzerland in bank accounts. Next one. It's also a pivot currency, which means that you can use it in trading, because one of the key use case for stablecoins is to be a trading asset where you have a hedging position, which means you know that the value of your cryptocurrency is not volatile, and you know that by transacting with it from one crypto to your stablecoin, there is no risk on the stablecoin losing value in that transaction. And the next use case is as a payment. It's a transactional asset. Because ROX is Swiss franc, you can use it to pay. It's a recognized payment solution in the real economy and not just on the blockchain. And all of these features are nothing else than creating a bridge in between the banking and finance world and the crypto world. Those two worlds today do not communicate very easily. It's very cumbersome. There's a lot of friction. And by using ROX, you actually have the possibility to open a bridge in between both. So why do you need ROX? You need ROX because today, I think we've seen it in recent days and weeks, the crypto market is still extremely volatile. So it's clearly a solution to hedge against market risk with the high volatility and the limited diversification. It's also a solution that will be used for mitigating what we call counterparty risk. Today, when you use cryptocurrencies on exchanges or you use other stablecoin, you are actually prone to several types of risk from the counterparty you're transacting with. Let it be the exchange or the company that issues the stablecoin. Those companies or exchanges are not regulated, or most of them are not regulated, which means that if the company disappears, or the company is, having legal issues, regulatory issues, you have no security that your funds will be kept safe. It's the same thing with other stablecoins like Tether, which is the biggest one in terms of market cap and daily volume. Tether is a great solution for trading.